Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello again, I'm Isantana Masitio from the English Postgraduate Program of the University of Sumatera Utara. And today, I'm going to introduce and promote to all of you about a book. This is a resource book which is very useful for students or anyone who learns about linguistics, especially stylistics. What is it? Well, let's see. So, the book title is Stylistics, a resource book for students. It is authored and written by Paul Simpson, published by Routledge, Taylor and Francis Group, and the first published is in 2004. The book has 262 pages for overall, and the ISBN is 0203496582, and the color of the book is purple blue and a little bit of black. So, ladies and gentlemen, this book introduces and gives an exploration on stylistics and the realms of it. It also provides a basic understanding of the fundamental concepts of stylistics, as well as the ability to apply the concepts themselves in further study of stylistic structure. These introductions and elaborations are compact and ordered in a linear way, so if someone reads progressively through section by section of the whole book, one can assemble a composite picture of the core issues in both stylistic theory and its practice. So, ladies and gentlemen, this book presents the elaboration in sections rather than chapters. So the sections are divided into 4, and each section consists of several units. For section A is Introduction. It sets out the key concepts for the area of the study. There are 12 units in the sections. The units of the section take readers step by step through the fundamental terms and ideas. And then the section B is Development. It adds to reader knowledge and builds on the key ideas which has already introduced in the previous sections. And then section C, Exploration. It provides examples of language data and guides readers through their own investigation of the field within the book. And then the last section is section D, Extension. Well, it offers and shows readers the chance to compare the expertise with key readings in area. This taken from the work of important writers and provided them with guidance and questions for further thought. So, in order to taste a bit of the content of the book, I'll explain briefly about each section and unit of the book. So the first section is section A, Introduction. It consists of 12 units, okay, and each unit has their own elaboration. The first is what is stylistics, which defines stylistics itself, okay. And then stylistic and level of language. This unit tells reader about the language levels. And then the third, grammar and style. This is about how the expression of rules of grammars, okay, refers to prescriptive niceties. And the fourth, rhythm and meter. This is about, by definition, literature as written language. And then narrative stylistics, and then the sixth, style as choice, and then the next is style as and point of view, okay, about the point of view of stylistician and narratologists, and then representing speech and thought. The next is dialogue and discourse, okay, and then cognitive stylistics, which is about literally criticism, and then metaphor and metonymy, okay, and then the last, stylistic and verbal humor. The unit introduces some of the basic principles. One other form of verbal humor, of course. That's for the first section, section A. So the next section is section B, development. So this section consists of 11 units. Okay, the units are as follows. The first is developments in stylistics, which relates to the previous unit in section A, investigates the further concept of foregrounding. Second is level of language, an example from poetry. The third is sentence styles, the development and illustration. The fourth is interpreting patterns of sound. The next is development of instructional narratology. The next is style and transitivity. The next is approaches to point of view. And then techniques of speech and thoughts. The next is dialogue in drama. And then developments in cognitive stylistics, which is also previous from section A. And then the last is styles of metaphor. That's for section B, the development of this previous section. The next section is section C, exploration. This has gone further from the two previous sections. So this section also consists of 11 units. It provides example of language data and guides readers through their own investigation. So the units, first is there a literary language? The next is style, register and dialect. And then the next, grammar and genre. A short study in imaginism. The next is style in a single poem, an exploration of course. The next is a socio-linguistic model of narrative. The next is transitivity, characterization and literary genre. The next is exploring point of view in narrative fiction. Again, a workshop on speech and thought presentation. The next is exploring dialogue. The next is cognitive stylistics at work from the previous section, two sections. And the last is exploring metaphors in different kinds of texts. So those are the units from the section C, exploration. So the next section is section D, extensions. So this is also called reading in stylistics. So this section consists of 12 units, but emphasizes on the importance of supplementing some of the experts' work in stylistic by reference to original sources. So some of the readings may be more challenging than others, but not to the extent what they opaque and inaccessible. So the original sources of the scholars are as follows. The first is Language and Literature by Roger Fowler and F.W. Bateson, and then Style and Verbal Play by Katie Wales, and then Teaching Grammar and Style by Ronald Carter, and then Sound, Silence and Onomatopoeia. And then the next is Style, Variation and Narrative by Mike Short, and then The Transitivity at Work, a Feminist Stylistic Application by Deirdre Burton, and then Literature at its Course. It is Literally Speech Situation by Mary Louise Pratt. And then Cognitive Stylistic, it is The Poetry of Emily Dickinson by Margaret Freeman. So that is the extension of the book, which is, the sources is from some scholars of the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I can genuinely say that this book is good. The composition of the units within the books gives us a deep understanding and elaboration, which is sophisticatedly well presented. Okay? Given to the focus, modern stylistic is positively flourishing these days. And after reading and analyzing this book, it is fair to say that this book is good and reliable. Okay, so what makes this book is good is that the elaboration from one unit into a section by section, is related and compatible. For instance, in Unit 2, In section A, discuss about stylistics and level of language. Then it continues the discussion into Unit 2 in section B. And then section C, levels of language, an example. It with deeper development and explanation. That's what makes the book is so good. So, it is, the reviewer suggests that everyone who learns about stylistics to use this book as a reference to their knowledge and resource. Thank you very much then. That's all for today. I can explain and share to all of you. Thank you very much for your very kind attention. See you in the next section. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.